So we're doing autumn practice again, and we will be for another month or two, looking at releasing our leaves, releasing anything that we just that feels ready to release, because that's the thing about leaves, isn't it? It's they fall when they've served their purpose and they're ready to let go. So from a Qigong and an energetic point of view, we're going to be focusing on that. And also, autumn with the Chinese medical system is associated with your lungs, your immunity, and your large intestine, so your digestion. So I'll be focusing on those things as well. And then in the dynamic section, in the yoga section, we'll be focusing on hip stability, which is so important at this time in women's lives, kind of 40 plus. We really want strong hips. So let's start on the floor, which is always my preference. As anybody who's done anything with me before knows, I too find it hard to get started in the mornings, and I find lying on the floor a very nice way to start. So let's start in my favorite lying down position, that kind of U-shaped. You might want to first of all hug your shoulders in, so you're getting more space between your spine and your shoulder blades. And then you're opening wide, just really seeing what you can do to create more space, to let those muscles relax and open, to let your chest open, to just arrive in the practice. To just remember that this is for you, that you've got nothing to prove by how stretchy or how strong. Just an opportunity to notice how your body and your mind are today. And give things an opportunity to shift. Oh, there's Valerie. Welcome, Valerie. I'm afraid we started without you. I hope you don't mind. You haven't you haven't missed too much. Hi, Valerie. We're just getting started. So we're lying on our backs. And then we're going to lie in happy baby. So with our knees coming towards our chest, grasping our big toes or our ankles or our calves, wherever feels accessible. Having our elbows on the inside of our knees. Just really letting the back settle into more of a flat shape. Imagining the muscles either side of the spine releasing and the hips releasing and your lower back lengthening. Paying some attention to the shoulders. So whilst you are grasping your toes, you still need your shoulders to be relaxed. So just a little bit of attention. You might want to roll to the right and to the left on a horizontal plane, just very slowly. You can get into some of the knotty bits around the hips. And then slowly bringing your feet back down to the mat, stretching your arms out so you're in a T shape. Moving your hips to the left horizontally, your knees to the right. So we're going into a twist, but we're going to go into a dynamic twist. So putting your hands on top of each other, shoulders are opposite each other, hips opposite, knees opposite, and then opening. So the left, if you were twisting to the right with your hands, you'd be opening to the left over your head. So you're arcing above your head in a semicircle. And then stretching back into that T again. So you're like this, and you're going over like that, and then you're back into the T. And let's stay in the T for a few seconds. Your chin and your head turning opposite to your knees. And then drawing that left hand down over your hips back so that your palms are on top of each other. And then doing the same movement again, arcing over the top. Stretching into the T. Letting your ribs open. Pausing for a moment. And then arcing down over the hips. Hands back on top of each other. And this time when you're opening and arcing above your head, just find a place that feels like there's a bit of stuckness or stiffness, and that might not be fully open in a T shape. For me, it's a bit more diagonal. So it's almost like my arm is running diagonal to my feet and my legs. So wherever you stop will open a different bit of your body, use different muscles. See what you need. I also find it interesting to try and rotate my inner elbow towards the back wall. It sort of opens up my shoulder in a different way. And then releasing it again. And then bringing your hips back to the middle, feet on the floor. Having a little wiggle out just to let everything realign itself. A couple of breaths. Noticing, does your body feel any different just with the few movements that we've done already? And then moving your hips to the right, your knees to the left, your hands on top of each other on the left side, and then arcing open above your head, going into that T. Pausing here, head rotating round to the opposite side to your knees. Bringing your attention to the breath in that right side, or whichever side is the open side opposite the knees. Just noticing how your ribs move as you inhale, opening up, and as you exhale, closing back down a bit. And then arcing your hand below your hips, your buttocks, bringing your hand on top of each other again, and then arcing again. Pausing for a moment in the T, just a couple of breaths. And then hands back on top of each other. And this time arcing and stopping at a point where you need that stretch. So your arm might not even touch the floor, might just hover. Resting here for a few breaths. Great. And then bringing your hips back to the center, having a little wiggle, letting your spine settle again. And then bringing your knees into a kind of tabletop. What we're going to do is cross our left ankle over our right knee. So it can be helpful to start with your right leg straight and your ankle over your right knee, your hip, your left hip open, then grasping in between the legs, drawing that right knee in towards you. So classic pigeon, bending your right leg. That makes sense to everyone? Yeah. So again, you can use the left elbow to lever against the left knee, push it a little bit further away from you, very gently pulling the right leg in towards you. And again, relaxing the shoulders. Just breathing into any pain in that left hip, as long as it feels like good pain, you know whether it feels like a healthy stretch or something that your body just doesn't want to do today. And then feet back down to the ground, swapping sides. So your left foot is going over your right foot is going over your left knee, hands through the middle. Right leg opening out to the side. Pulling the left leg in towards you very gently. So sometimes we feel like we have to kind of almost fight against our bodies to force them to do what we want. So just listening in, being really gentle and loving with your body. Breathing deep into that right hip. Deep inhalations into your belly. Couple more breaths. And then feet down to the floor. Having another wiggle. And then coming up to a kneeling tabletop. So part of stabilizing our hips is strengthening our buttocks, gluteus maximuses. So coming into tabletop with our shoulders above our hands, our hips above our knees. I might do this from the side actually. And then we're lifting, we'll start with the right knee. We're lifting our feet up to the ceiling, but we're keeping our knee bent. So be careful not to crunch into your lower back. And then we're swinging it forwards and moving our feet back up to the ceiling again. So as your foot moves up, you want to be squeezing your glutes. If it feels like it's crunching into your lower back, you can just not go up so high. Or you can try more going to the side, so it's more diagonal. See what feels nice for you. Couple more squeezes. And then this time we're doing what's wonderfully known as something like puppy peeing. So you're cocking your leg to the side, lifting your knee up, and then it swings back down again to meet your knee in the middle. So this can be quite uncomfortable, but this is a brilliant one for the hips. I hate this one. I'm only doing it to share it with you guys. But I think I really need it. Couple more. And then rest in tabletop for a moment. And then stretching the right leg out to the side. So it's straight. That's it. Coming up. So you're in half a kneeling position. Taking your left hand down to the floor and raising your right knee up. That's it, great. And then lifting your right hand up, arm up. So your shoulders are in line with each other, more or less. Your raised leg is parallel to the floor. Couple more breaths. And then bringing that back down, back into tabletop. If you want to go into child's for a bit, just to have a moment of rest, please feel free to do that. And then we'll do the same on the other side. So swinging the left leg up and down, squeezing the glutes when you get to the top. You're imagining that the underneath of your foot is parallel to the ceiling. It can be quite difficult to tell that, but you're all looking pretty good. And a couple more. And then the puppy pea. Knee extending out to the side. Foot is still quite close to your right leg. To your groin area. Couple more. And then extending that left leg out to the side. Coming up to a kneeling position. Right hand on the floor. I put my hand out horizontally. Gives me the stability that I need. Left leg rising, left arm rising. Just holding it there for a few seconds. Deep breath. Weight really going through that right knee. You can drop your chin towards your right hand. And if it feels too much, you can lower your leg, have a little pause, and then raise it back up again. And then down into child's pose. Oh, stretch out that lower back. Try and keep your shoulders wide, relaxing the neck. Couple of breaths. And then up into downward dog. So feet and hands hip width apart. Heels working towards the floor. You could do a bit of walking with your heels up and down. Just to open the tense muscles in the backs of our legs. Really pushing through the hands. Fingers spread wide, inner elbows turning round towards your ears. Carry on walking for a bit. And then going more side to side. So allow your hips to move horizontally on the horizontal plane from left to right. And pausing at some point to just really allow that rib cage to open and that armpit to open. And then pausing for a second in more of a static dog, which of course is never really static. And then coming into a low lunge, so bringing your left foot forwards. Opening that groin so your back leg is straight. Your chest is resting on that left leg. Just have a little bounce there for a moment. Great, and then up into a high lunge. So like a warrior, starting with your arms up in prayer, in a high prayer, but then reaching forwards. I'll do this from the side. A couple of you said you found this one quite strong last time. So reaching forwards as if you're kind of on a ski slope. Quite strong. If it's too strong, just find a place where it feels okay and you can start to build that strength. So you don't have to go too low to see what feels okay. Right. And then back into downward dog. Oh, really rolling those shoulder blades away from the spine, opening up those armpits. Imagining it more like a back bend. So your chest is working its way towards your knees. Staying there for a few seconds. And then bringing your right foot forward into a low lunge. Having a little bounce. Really opening that groin. And then coming up into a high lunge. Arms above your head. And then diving into more of that ski slope shape, skiing shape. Just holding as long as feels comfortable, coming up if it's too much. And then going back down again, just slowly building up those muscles. Very much the muscles surrounding your hips. And then back into downward dog. Opening the chest, pushing through the hands. Imagine somebody standing at your shoulders, at your head, and pushing your hips backwards. So open your heart as much as you can. So rolling the shoulder blades out, opening the chest. And then walking the feet slowly to the front of the mat. In whatever way feels comfortable to you. Rolling yourself up to standing. Would those of you who need to move their cameras so I can see their face be happy to move their cameras? Thank you. It's good to see your facial expressions, your pain or your joy. Great, and then take your right hand and arm and wrap it over the left, drawing two hands together if possible. Just finding that sense of your central line. Yep. And then see if you can do the same with your leg. So wrapping the right leg around the left and trying to squat a bit with that left leg as you go. So raising the arms up, pushing down through the feet. And then slowly in a controlled way if possible, coming up to standing again. Shaking the hands and the shoulders. Shaking the hips. Shaking away the efforting, too much effort. Making sure we're still being friends with our bodies. And then crossing the left arm over the right, crossing at the elbow, just feeling that lovely sense of shoulder blades widening. And then crossing the left leg over the right as much as you can. I don't seem to be able to do it today. And then going for a little squat. If it's too much to wrap your foot around, you can just have it as if you're just crossing your legs and lifting up those elbows. Great, and then coming back down with your feet down, shaking out the shoulders again. Lovely. And then we'll finish this section with a bit of balancing. Actually, do have some water if you need some. I often forget that bit. So we start off, just wondering what's the best way to show you. So we start off swinging one leg forwards and backwards. We're starting with so let's start together with our feet on the ground. We're moving our weight from our right leg to our left, letting it really drop into the ground, raising our right toe so it's just balancing. And then just swinging that leg backwards and forwards with your foot extended. So it's like your foot is going towards your chest. It's interesting, isn't it? How balance is really different each. Like today, my balance is terrible. And you can use your arms as a counterpoint to balance. I go out slightly, slightly diagonally so it doesn't crunch into my back. So if your balance is as bad as mine today, you can also just tap backwards and forwards until it's feeling more balanced. And shake out any tension in that left buttock after you've been standing for a while. Give it a little massage. And then we're going to go from side to side. So still weight is on the left leg, right leg, swinging side to side. So lifting as much as is comfortable to the side. Hands going the opposite way. You could almost think of it as a dance. It kind of helps, I think, to feel a bit more gentle with your body if you think of it as a dance. Like a bit more wafty. Great. And then swapping sides. So your weight's going into your right leg, giving that left buttock a bit of a massage around the hips. And then same again. So left foot forwards and backwards. Squeezing the buttocks when you get to the back. Weight really pushing down through that right leg. Couple more. And then bringing that left toe to the floor. Having a little pause. Again, if you want a little massage in your right buttock, right hip, feel free. And then again, moving from side to side. See how much of a flow you can get. Really gentle. Whoop. Great. You all look like ballerinas. Whoop. And then back to the center. Ooh. Having a little shake of the hips. Having a little massage of the lower back and the hips. shaking around. Let's jump up and down on our feet. Really bouncing into that big toe. Oh, and then coming back to standing. So we're going to go into our slower Qigong section now. So if you want to swap Spotify tracks, now is the moment to do it. So it should be in the Movement for Midlife WhatsApp group if you scroll up a bit. I think I posted it again last week. And also it should be in the group description. So you can find it in either of those places. So it's Root and Rise Qigong rather than Root and Rise Dynamic is the name of the playlist. Ah. So the Qigong is where we will focus more on the shedding of the leaves and the lung and immunity and digestion. Just going to move my yoga mat slightly. So when you're ready, just allowing your weight to drop into your feet. Really noticing how your breath is, how your body feels after moving around, how your mind feels in comparison to when you first started. A couple of deep breaths into your belly. Noticing where the air is going, where the lungs are opening, where they're not opening because there's tension around them. Seeing if you can breathe into your sort of solar plexus area, so underneath your heart space, kind of a bit lower between your ribs, just imagining opening up in that area. There's a lot of nerves that pass through there. It's like a kind of connection center, and the diaphragm is connected all around there, and that can have a massive effect on our breathing and our digestion. If we're able to release in here, like my belly always gets really gurgly because there's sometimes a bit of trapped air in that bit of the large intestine, sort of as it passes under the ribs. So just really breathing into that space. You might want to touch it to feel it moving. Let's have a couple of deep sighs out. So deep inhalation. A full exhalation. One more. Really notice also where it goes in the back of your ribs. Lovely. And then let's go into swinging either side. That with our arms as loose as they possibly can be. So imagine there's no effort in the arms. It's your shoulders that are doing the swinging. Your knees are bent, soft, just slightly bent. And then just tapping on the top of your lungs. So when a sort of soft fist comes up, there are points here, lung one, that are acupuncture, acupressure points, shiatsu points, just points, good points to be tapping for lung health. Also, obviously, great for spine, waking up your spine. It's one of my favorite forms. So simple. And slowly unwinding back to the front. And then putting our hands opposite our feet. Really connecting into the weight in our feet. Again, noticing, having just done that dynamic move, how it feels, how our bodies feel. Knees are soft. Most of your weight in your heels, but enough in the front. Sometimes with Qigong, people complain about it being painful for their knees, and the real key to that is finding the right width for your feet. Like mine need to be quite wide. And then there's there's very soft knees, but the weight going down the back. So imagining this third point of contact coming down from your sacrum, so like the third leg of a stool, a dragon's tail, just resting. So your perineum, sort of in between your legs, is very much the center. Your weight is going down through there, not just through the front of your legs. It's different to how we normally hold ourselves, but quite key, I think, to feeling comfortable. So connecting in through the hands, mirroring the feet, imagining some energy drawing you down, magnetizing you down through the floor, all the way down through the earth, drawing you in. And as it draws you in, you can just release anything, everything, any tension, any fears. You can also release any hopes, because actually sometimes if we're focusing on how we're hoping things will be, that can bring us suffering. So maybe just letting any attachment to your hopes release, flow into the earth. And being open to receive energy and information that's coming back from the earth through the soles of your feet. Imagine the sensitivity in your skin. Really notice your skin touching the floor. Imagine the pores on the soles of your feet opening to receive the energy. And then drawing that energy up using your hands to mirror, drawing it up through your center. So your fingers are facing each other, up, past your heart, up, over your throat, over your head. So your palms are facing your head, arms gently, softly held above your head. And then we're going to imagine that we've got rainbow energy between our hands, and we're going to drop that rainbow energy down to the floor. You might want to have your feet a little bit wider, depending on how wide they were before. Just swaying from one side to the other, maybe watching the rainbows shooting out of each hand as they make their way down to the floor. It's a beautiful example of something that exists, but it's not solid, not in a solid form. And imagining that you're a tree with rainbow-colored leaves, and you're allowing those leaves to drop on the floor, just the ones that are ready, releasing them, letting them go. Noticing how beautiful they are on the ground. And then allowing your hands and your arms to come down a bit. So you're sort of swooshing them around you, dropping beautiful, colorful leaves. You might want to do more of a cross in the middle with your hands, whatever your arms feel like, whatever they feel like they want to do to gently release the leaves. Great. And then coming back to the feet, hip width apart, hands just above the feet, drawing that energy in a few times. So just bringing your hands from your back, from the ceiling, just drawing it through. If you want, you can go all the way up to the ceiling, drawing it through your crown. I think it's also just really nice to not forget about what's behind us and draw that in. So whichever you feel like you need. Drawing into the lower dantian, just 4 finger widths beneath your belly. Breathing that in, gathering it in. Standing with your eyes shut for a moment, storing up all that energy. And then we're going to do a form called the bear swims. So it's a bit like just breaststroke, except it's not quite that straightforward. So you're bending your knees, you're bringing your hands forward, but your palms are facing upwards. And then you're drawing in the breaststroke, and then you're pulling it through you. This is really symbolic of going with the flow. I like to imagine the bear, obviously the bear doesn't do breaststroke, but imagining it going towards the last of the salmon as the autumn closes in. See how low you can go. So it's quite a good squat weight in the buttocks, as well as movement in the front. It's great. It's also like an offering. You're offering that sturdy, great big bear energy and drawing it in. So it's an offering and a gathering. And then coming back to your hands, moving your feet. Probably got your heart going a bit, so just catching your breath. And then the next one is specifically a lung cleanser. So again, our palms are facing upwards towards the ceiling. We're drawing them up. It's like we're scooping something over our heads, and then we're pushing away through our chest. So up over the head and then pushing. So you're bending your knees again, but not so strongly. Keep the focus on the exhale as you push through the chest. Palms up, over your head, through the chest. So we're getting rid of stagnant air in the lungs. Drawing in what we need, letting go of what we don't. And then slowing that down. Deep inhale, deep exhale. One more. Bringing your hands back down to your feet. Tuning in through your hands, dropping your weight. And then we're going to do a slightly altered version of the owl, which we've done a few times. And really the next sequence of forms is about releasing stale air, stuck energy in the lungs, making space for something fresh. So we inhale, we open our hands to the side, and we exhale, we look behind us, either to the left or the right, and as we look behind, we're doing a exhalation, inhaling back to the lower dantian, exhaling, inhaling to the center, exhaling, inhaling. With the next exhale, keep going past the point that you feel like your lungs are empty. And then just keep going in your own time, at your own breath, but keep that emphasis on the exhale. Just keep squeezing the lungs out. Deep inhalations, let the belly open. One more on each side. And then drawing your hands, when you've finished your last one, back to your lower dantian, gathering in that energy that you need with your arms. A couple of times, inhaling it into the lower dantian, allowing your lower dantian to fill up like a ball, full of dynamic energy. And then moving your feet together, we'll close with the bamboo, which we've done a few times recently. You can keep your hands opposite your lower dantian. So you want your big toes touching, or very nearly touching. And this is quite a challenge to stay standing. What we want to do is let our bodies move as they do. So you're not trying to let your weight go to the front or the back or the side, but it just naturally will as your body corrects itself. Weight going through your feet, earth's core drawing you down. Forehead relaxed. Imagine your brain is like a muscle and you can relax it. Releasing any tension in your jaw, your shoulders, your chest, your heart, and your belly, and your hips, and your buttocks, and your sex organs, and the tops of your legs, and your knees, and your shins, all the way through your ankles and your feet. Trying not to hold yourself upright. This is a real practice in letting go, feeling safe, knowing that your body knows exactly what to do. Couple more breaths. And then gently moving out of this form, moving your feet hip width apart again, drawing that energy into your belly as you move, stroking it in, and doing a little massage around your belly. So you're going anti-clockwise, massaging that large intestine, digesting all that beautiful energy that you've just generated. And then bringing that into a straight down from your heart, from your chest, into the sides of your body, all the way down the back. And let's do a bit of drumming of the kidneys. At the same time, you can do a little bit of lifting the heels and drum, or you can just bounce and push into your kidneys. A really great way of stimulating a bit of energy. And then let's bring that into soft fists around the buttocks, over the hips, bending down the back of your legs. down into your shins, tapping your feet or slapping your feet. You might want to experiment with what's it like to slap. How does that feel? Probably on the bones, it's nicer to slap. And on the muscly bits, it's nicer to do soft bit of punching. So really, when you get to the top of your legs again, punching in softly onto the round, all the big chunky muscles at the tops of your legs, into your hips. And then brushing down your arms, just combing out any last bits of tension. Shaking it out. Great. If anybody needs to go for 10, we've got 3 minutes before 10. So if there's any questions or comments about how that was for you, how you're feeling now, any sort of adjustments you'd like me to make, you could let me know now, and maybe I'll have an immediate thought, or maybe I'll go away and think about how I could adapt that to your needs. Bye, Valerie.
I'm saying something.
Caroline, I was just wondering,